Well, hello again, everybody. I'm Dan John from danjohnuniversity.com. I've been working on some programs in the last few years, and maybe one of the more famous programs I do is a thing called Easy Strength. I'm coming out with a new book. In fact, by the time you see this, it might be available, called Attempts, and that's essays in health, fitness, longevity, and easy strength. Sometimes I think I explain easy strength so much that people miss the point about how simple it is. Now, there's an old discus throwing thing we always say. It's simple, it's not easy. Keep those two words separate in your head as you move into this world. But what's been really interesting is in the past few months, I've been working with some women, and I have been getting so much feedback from using easy strength to improve body composition. Now, I'm a discus thrower, I'm a Highland Games guy, I coach American football, I work with the military. I'm very happy to help anybody I can help, but I never thought of myself at all as any kind of fat loss expert. I leave that to the smart people like Josh Hillis. Because there's so much money to be made as a discus throwing coach, as you can imagine. So the more I started working on this, the more I started researching this, the more and more I realized that maybe this might be a solution to a lot of people's fat loss journey, the toolkit that you might need. Now, it's going to be very simple, but what I want you to think about is piecing together weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of intelligent but simple training programs, in addition to having just a few life habits. Now, I call them shark habits. I always wear this kind of shirt because I don't ever have to think about what I'm going to wear. For those who email me, you notice I email you right back because I don't like to have things floating around in my brain. It's interesting. People ask me sometimes, Dan, how do you write so many books? And I say, it's because I wear this shirt. And they say, well, yeah, but what's that got to do with writing? Well, I didn't waste any brain power this morning putting on this outfit, I can tell you that. So let's talk a little bit about a concept called easy strength for fat loss. And we're going to go right into the meat of it. I'm going to explain things, your typical day, and then I will have a few bits and pieces of explanation on top of some of these things. But truly, you're going to get everything right away. So let's get started. So 5 days a week, actually 7 days a week, I'm recommending doing this. 5 days a week, I want you to lift weights. And the other 2 days a week, either you can do some original strength, which is Tim Anderson's fabulous mobility program, or you can do, something gentle, like just gentle flexibility or even whatever, I don't care. Or just go for a walk and not worry about it. But 5 days a week, I'd like you to lift weights. Never miss a rep. Never miss an attempt, never even struggle. Just keep getting those reps in. So 5 days a week, this is the day I want you to have. First off, I want you to get a good night's sleep. I can't tell you how important a good night's sleep is. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of research in just a minute that startled me. But we all know that the journey to mental health, the journey to physical health, all starts with a good night's sleep. And I got to tell you, from the women I work with who have been the most successful, they almost universally say 8 to 9 hours a night. My mom, of blessed memory, used to say the sleep before midnight was more important than the sleep after midnight. Boy, I got to tell you, I think there's some truth in that. But before you go to bed at night, there's one or two things I'd like you to think about. Now, I always make a pot of coffee so that when I wake up, I literally wake up to the smell of coffee. I don't like to wake up to an alarm clock. Now, if I'm on the road, I'm doing a workshop, I got to do what I got to do. But for me, waking up to the smell of coffee versus is a much more delightful way to start the day. The other thing I do every night before I go to bed is I make my to-do list. Now, it's interesting because I actually have my to-do list here for you right now. This is today's to-do list. It says make a PowerPoint presentation for easy strength for fat loss. And there's a few other things down there that I need to do. Oh, I've already done them all. The nice thing about doing the to-do list is that it cleans your mind up. Tomorrow morning, I have a meeting with somebody at 8 o'clock. So I leave that on my desk there, that little note. Oh, by the way, I also have a computer system to do it too. But sometimes if it's something unusual, I put it on a piece of paper. And the reason I do that is I'm going to be able to go to bed tonight and not have to remind myself, I got to get up and do this thing. That little piece of paper is worth a gold mine to me. Let's get back to the sleep thing real quick. I just read this article, and I got to tell you, folks, I know the value of a good night's sleep. I didn't know how important it was, especially with children. And this is just a small little tidbit from this wonderful article, and we include the link right here on the page here. For instance, one study found that 5-year-olds who went to bed after 9 p.m. were 50% more likely to be obese and gain weight over time compared to those who went to bed before 9 p.m. In fact, kids with late bedtimes are more likely to be overweight when they get the same amount of sleep as kids who go to bed earlier. So it is what my mom thought. It is the hours before midnight that count. No one knows why, and that one day maybe we will. No one knows why bedtime is linked with obesity risk, but changes of the hormones leptin and ghrelin, which regulate appetite and hunger, may play a role. The other thing you'll find when your kids go to bed about 8 o'clock, as my daughters did, up until their middle years of high school, is you don't have crazy, tired and wired kids running around. So folks, I cannot emphasize enough, for your body composition, for every health in your body, emotionally, physically, financially, go to bed early. The next thing on our list daily is this. After getting a good night's sleep, I want you to wake up and drink coffee. Or some people tell me you can take a caffeine pill. Now, many of you can't consume coffee. I've done my DNA testing, and I can drink coffee and go to sleep. It's not a big deal for me. But coffee does something that's magical. Now, if you know my work, you know that I constantly try to find good reasons to eat fish, good reasons to eat vegetables, good reasons to drink coffee, and good reasons to drink red wine. So you got to be careful when I recommend things. But this is something interesting I want you to know. This is from my article that can be found at Dan John University. Coffee frees up free fatty acids too. It seems like every day someone is discovering a new benefit for this delightful beverage. Coffee makes fasting easier. Maybe it's as simple as freeing up the free fatty acids. Gives us a bit of push when we train and helps many of us have the urge to eliminate the bowels. Win, win, win. I got George Sheehan's classic book down there. When asked about diet, he said diet should provide you enough energy to run in the morning and have your daily bowel movement, which I found funny. And I still obviously do. It's the free fatty acids I want you to start thinking about. The free fatty acids. So, get a good night's sleep. Start your day with that smell of coffee. Get that mug. And then I want you to do something that I have found life-changing for me. I want you to fast until you work out. Intermittent fasting has become very popular on the internet. Practically every person I know in the fitness industry puts their arms around intermittent fasting at some level. Every religious tradition I know uses fasting as part of their preparation. In theology, we say, first the fast, then the feast. Sadly, and maybe you're one of them, many people I know don't agree with that anymore. If you show up to school, you get a treat. If you did your homework, you get a treat. If you brushed your teeth, you get some candy, which makes, maybe that's an indicator of why obesity is raging in certain countries in the world. Fasting is something I like to talk about. And again, from the article, someone asked me once how fasting helps with fat loss. My answer was brilliant. You don't eat calories. You don't eat calories if you're not eating. And then the joke, of course, why did I not get the Nobel Prize? Folks, if you're not shoveling down food, you're not getting calories. So fasting, coffee, and intense work all together to get the free fatty acids up and at them, and then what we're going to do after that is walk them off. It almost seems like stealing in a way, but if I could just get you to do those three things, if I get you to have a good night's sleep, start your day now. It can be coffee, obviously, there's other hot drinks, whatever you decide, something calorie-free, and then waiting a while, extending that fast just a little longer. Pat Flynn thinks it's 15 hours. Other experts say it's 16 hours. I've heard it can be as short as 12 hours. I don't know. I just know for me that about 15 hours or a little bit longer seems to be my cue. The other thing I've noticed is that when I fast and drink coffee, I answer emails very quickly. I get all my work done very quickly. And I have an intense ability to keep writing. In hockey, there's a word called yerrick. And yerrick is the way a hawk looks when it's hungry. I type in a condition of yerrick. Now, let's talk about the training. The training is going to be a very simple program, an adaptation of easy strength. Now, the first three I want you to stick with almost without question. In this program, generally I always finish with the ab wheel. In this program, I want you to start with the ab wheel as it's a bit of a warm-up. Just one quick set of 10. I'm a big believer in a lot of hinge work. That's deadlifts and swings and Olympic lifts. And the ab wheel well, maybe not, but I always say it counteracts all the other work we're doing, all this work to that work. I would like you to do vertical press. That's overhead presses. There's a lot of reasons for that, and you can do it with dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells. You can use machines if that's what works out. You can take the same weight and make it a little bit harder. Like I know if I'm standing, that's the strongest position I am to overhead press. If I put one knee on the ground, it's much more difficult for me. Just 3 sets of 3. 3 left, 3 right, 3 left, 3 right, 3 left, 3 right. Thank you very much. And then some kind of vertical pull. Now, with the females I'm working with, I encourage them to do the pull-up, the chin-up, or the neutral grip pull-up. And there's no magic to any of them. I think they're all work and they're all valuable. You can do something like 3 sets of 3, or if you're larger, 6 singles. And if you can't yet do pull-ups, if you're on the university site, Dan John University site, go to the post-deployment program and look at how I deal with that with hangs. If you can't do pull-ups, just hang from the bar. And maybe you can just do one set. Try to build up to 30 seconds, just hanging as soon as you can. And I'd love to see you build that way up from there. So, no matter what, ab wheel, vertical press, vertical pull. Now, from here, it's going to be a little bit different. In the perfect program, I would ask you to do a deadlift variation, 3 sets of 3, never miss, never get close to missing, don't even strain. Try to add load over time. Take your time. Read up on the easy strength protocols to figure out what I'm talking about. And then after that, I recommend doing, if you know how to kettlebell swing, up to 75 swings. So that can be 5 sets of 15, 3 sets of 25. But when you put that bell down in the 75th rep, you're out the door for a walk. If this workout takes you 10 minutes, the weight workout takes you 10 minutes, I want you to walk for 50. If it takes you 15, I want you to walk for 45. Why does easy strength help? Well, let's just look at some simple stuff here. There's been some recent research, and it's basically brand new as I'm giving this to you, that on monkeys, that they built monkeys up to doing 50 one-arm pull-ups, which is impressive. Sadly, there wasn't many monkeys in the study, and also they had these electrodes on their head, which may bother some of us. But they discovered the thing we've known in the weight room for generations. First, you train the nervous system. Then you get that wonderful hormonal cascade that Rob Wolf so eloquently described. You get stronger, and then one day the body says, I don't know what's going on, but let's lay down some more muscle to help the nervous system. First the nerves, then the hormonal cascade, and then new lean body mass. The concept of easy strength is really based on this idea of irradiation, and it's loosely based, as I write here, on Sir Charles Scott Sherrington's laws. The idea is simply that one can add more load to the bar and stimulate more muscle fibers by consciously willing the rest of the bar to kick in and help out. One thing, I've pulled 600 pounds a number of times in the deadlift in my life. One thing you can't do pulling 600 pounds in the deadlift is have a nice laugh halfway through. In fact, breathing out might be a disaster. I went to my new dentist, it's not so new anymore, years ago, and he opened my mouth up and he said, do you lift weights? And I thought, because, my pythons. And I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, I can tell. Your teeth are all grinded down. He recommended that if you're going to do things right in the weight room, you should wear a mouth guard, because when you're lifting heavy weights, every single muscle in your body has to contract. And that's what we want. That's the idea of easy strength. You start off with a 12 kilo bell, you get to a 24 kilo bell, you get to a 28 kilo bell, you get to a 32, a 36, 48. And to make that happen, you have to tense more and more and more. My best clients, who are female, and who pay attention and don't push back on everything, find that pull-ups and deadlifts are the best moves for fat loss. Because to do that, you have to have irradiation. And it's interesting, and pressing is right behind. Boy, the secret to fat loss. Press, pull, deadlift. There's your secret. It makes me laugh out loud because I learned that in the very first book I ever read, the Ted Williams book that came along with my Sears barbell set. I'm going to show you an example of one of my best clients, Erica. Now, Erica is 50 years old, and she can do 6 pull-ups, but in this example, you'll see, sadly, she just barely misses. This is at my gym, and you can get more from Erica at feelsexyagain.com and her Instagram account at feelsexyagain. That's it. Try one more. The camera person here is also coaching. Yeah, come on. That's not bad for 50. That's not bad for 40. That's not bad for 30. That's not bad for 20. That's not bad for 50. Great work, Erica. Much of what I've been learning the last few months is a deep dive into the work of Rusty Moore. Rusty Moore has been on the internet a long time. His most famous work now would be the Yacht Bod, but he's been someone who is way out ahead of many of us. Now, you got to understand something. Now, Greg O'Gallagher is one of his students. I'm a performance coach. My job is to make you, jump higher and throw farther. Greg O'Gallagher is the guy you go to if you want to look, in your male or female, and you just want to look better on the beach. Rusty Moore is if you want to look better in suits. But what's great about Rusty is he came up with a concept here that just makes me go, it's so simple. Rusty Moore's idea that when you lift or do intense work, you free up fatty acids, and the walk after the lifting deals with these free fatty acids. He sums it up as intense exercise releases free fatty acids, strategic cardio, the walk after, burns free fatty acids. Folks, put that to memory. Put that to memory. I have had amazing results just following this simple advice of an intense workout, really getting every muscle in the body to sing along together and then go for a walk. Now, truth, sometimes I have to put heavy hands on, the small weights in each hand to keep the heart rate where it needs to be. But very often, when I leave the gym after that short little workout, my heart is humming along I use the Maffetone numbers. I want to walk between 180 minus my age heartbeats and 160 minus my age heartbeats. So in that range. Maffetone also adds if you take a medicine, it should be 170 and 150. So if you're on any medicines, you could even go easier. And if you've been sick, take another 10 off. And we can 160 and 140. And we can keep sliding down all day. Because the number one thing we want to do is go out and walk every single day. I use the talk test in addition. If I can talk with someone easily while we're walking, I'm probably more in the right range. Nutrition is going to be pretty simple. It's what I learned at the Olympic Training Center. Eat your veggies, eat your proteins at your meals, and drink water all day as appropriate. Fat loss happens in the kitchen. Fat loss happens in the kitchen. One thing I'm really getting into now is the gut biome. And the reason I am is the more research I'm reading about what's going on in the gut makes me think more and more that if your child is on that beige diet, chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, white bread, grilled cheese sandwiches, the body doesn't have to work very hard to digest that stuff. The body needs fibers. The body needs vegetables. The body needs to be challenged a little bit. Now, I'll have more on that in a moment. But one of the things I do twice a day is very simple. I call them my gut biome breaks. I take some fermented food. This is the one I use. I take my fork, and it's not bad, and I eat a spoonful or two of sauerkraut. And by the way, after a while, or kimchi. That's not bad. And then I eat an apple. I buy apples by the bag. This is a rather small one. I choose the apples for the kind I like to taste. It could also be broccoli and cauliflower. It could be any kind of vegetable. I mean, I'm sure. Let your mind roam. The reason I like the fermented foods a little bit is that I've been told, whether it's true or not, that they really assist in the development of your gut biome. And of course, for me, apples have been always a great go-to as a coach and athlete because you can take apples anywhere, and you can just throw you can throw that in your gym bag. Heck, you can throw it in your shoe, and it'll be just fine. Maybe not. I guess if you throw it in your shoe, you don't have to worry about fermented food anymore. A little bit of humor. I do 2 of those. I'm down to just 2 meals a day. Part of the reason is that as you age, and I'm 63, as one ages, sometimes it gets eating 3 or 4 meals a day just doesn't work for you. Past about 35, it just seems if you look at a bagel, you put weight on. On the other 2 days a week, I suggest this, just either some easy mobility work, as I say, I do original strength, or go for a walk, or do both. But try to stay with the basics of a good night's sleep, fasting a bit, and of course, vegetables, protein, water, and the gut biome break. Now, the devil is in the details, folks. I know you're going to say, well, I don't have this equipment, I don't have that equipment. I was thinking, there was a time when I first moved to California, all I had was a 28 kilo kettlebell, but I could have done this, 1 set of 10 ab wheel, 3x3 presses. On the easy day, I would do standing presses. On the hard day, I might do presses sitting on the ground or in half kneeling. 6 single pull-ups. We had a banister rail in my apartment I could do pull-ups on. 3x3 single leg deadlifts, left and right, pretty simple, and then 15 swings and out the door for my walk. Now, someone's going to raise their hand. I'm not very good at kettlebell swings. Fine. You can do hip thrusts. In fact, I love hip thrusts because if you do them on the ground, you have to get back up and down. I have discovered deficit deadlifts to be an amazing way to train this. And then, of course, you can do trap bar deadlifts. You can do goblet squats for this out the door thing, and anything you like. Anything that gets your heart rate up a little bit, that works big muscles. I love it when it works the hip, thigh, and lower back. Those are the biggest muscles of your body. Those are the big engines. How you figure this out for yourself is going to depend on your equipment, what you know, and your interest level. And maybe you can just go to the workout generator at danjohnuniversity.com and look around for some ideas in there. I want to just mention one thing on the gut biome. This is another article that I thought was brilliant. And I loved the whole article, but I liked best was this simple summary at the end of it. Years ago, impelled in part by their oldest daughter's constipation problems, the Sonnenberg family revamped its diet. They threw out all processed foodstuffs and began eating plenty of veggies and whole grains. They bought a dog. I guess dogs are good because they're little, they're filled with all kinds of great things, allergens. Justin Sonnenberg began hand milling his own wheat berries for bread. He took up gardening, again, getting your hands dirty. And when he compared his archived microbes from years ago with recent ones, he discovered that his microbial diversity had increased by half. That's a huge difference, he told me, as big as the difference between Americans and Amerindians. Pretty simple stuff. Gardening, a dog, eating some vegetables. Get your gut biome and health and be so glad you did. To summarize, this isn't a quick fix, but things really do happen quickly on this. There's no magic, but the synergy of all this stuff together is magical. I'm not telling you to do any of these things, but I have a number of people doing this right now. And I got to tell you, I've had a lot of positive feedback from my really, really hard programs in my career. Mass Made Simple, Big 21, The Body is One Piece. These really difficult programs. But the feedback I'm getting from this program, Easy Strength for Fat Loss, has been all positive. And it just makes me happy to share this with you. That's why I provide this for free. I hope you got something out of it. I'm Dan John. You can find more about this at danjohnuniversity.com. Thank you.